I mean, if you're like, hey, it's been 20 years, we're making another Matrix. What's our bucket list items? What are we trying to get in here? We got to get another helicopter scene. We didn't do a helicopter scene for the whole second or third movie. You're right. Helicopter. Carl, write it on the board. Okay, what else do we want? Trinity digs motorcycles. We got some really good motorcycle stuff in the previous films. Cool, Carl. Motorcycles, let's go. Why not?
We actually got that in the film.
Wait, what?
There was a moment of silence in the film.
Was there?
Yeah, and they pointed it out. What was it? Naomi? I don't know.
Niobe?
Yeah, she said, I think that was the point of her scene, was minus all the I'm old stuff. She says, there's silence now that you're out of the Matrix. You know, there's no more noise.
Oh, right.
Unless there's war. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of good stuff in here. And lots of, we're just going to dive into it, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Welcome to the Entertainment Podcast.
Welcome to the Is This Entertainment Podcast.
This is a spoilery thing. And
this is the most spoiler.
There's potential to be a part 2 of this conversation.
Who knows?
Maybe not. Maybe we can cover the whole thing.
Maybe we end up talking about the Matrix for the rest of our lives.
Sure.
Maybe that's what happens. Maybe that's how this works.
It could happen.
Yeah.
If you're in the Matrix, you're in a loop.
If you are, yeah.
You're on a treadmill in a loop. I mean, you know,
a time loop.
You can't get out.
Right. Okay. First impression. Go.
First impressions. I was so caught off guard by the direction they chose to take that I was very angry.
Oh no! Oh no!
Yeah. It was.
So, like, the first 30 minutes of just pure meta talking about the usefulness of sequels and the heads of Warner Brothers saying, we got to do this thing and we're going to do it without you. So you can either be a part of it or you can just not be. All of that meta stuff.
The most meta-ness of it is that it's true. That's the most probably screwed upness of it. Is that it was probably Warner Brothers saying, we're going to do this without you.
And I loved it.
I was angry.
It's the same part of my brain that is like, that with Rian Johnson being like, you know, taking that hard left turn with The Last Jedi. It's the same part of my brain as like, yes, the first 30 minutes is, why are you even here? Why are you even watching this? Okay, we'll give you what you want.
I almost feel like the comments, although they apply maybe somewhat to the audience, I feel like they were almost directed at Warner Brothers. Like, we're just making this movie because you told us we had to.
I mean, I think there's some of that. But then, but you know, if you're gonna do that, then like, let's use this as an opportunity. Oh, for those of you on the YouTube, Jacob's trying to kill mosquitoes with one of them electric mosquito racket.
Yeah, I'll just cut this out.
No, you have to leave that in.
It was right here in front of my face. It's right there.
Are they attracted to the racket in any way?
That would be great if they were. No.
Yeah, it doesn't have like mosquito pheromones in it to like draw them in.
It's
or
a
like a glowy light. A glowy light to like make them kind of go, hey, glowy thing.
It's not that fancy.
Boink, dead. Okay.
Right.
Just curious.
Yeah, it does make me wonder why they spent the extra money to put the lightning bolts in there.
Yeah.
I guess so you don't put your hand on it.
Oh yeah. Maybe for like little kids.
Right.
If you put your hand on it, is it going to give you a little jolt?
Oh yeah.
Give you a little sting?
It's probably not legal in the States. Yeah. No, I think
I've seen those.
Yeah, they have them, but it's like you got to hold a button and then another button. Right, like this.
Yeah, I'm sure it's like hella regulated.
Right. Yeah.
Probably dialed down to like 2% of what you got.
Everything's fine.
Yeah. Okay, so the movie opens with an almost complete recreation of the Trinity scene with some not Trinity. And that was wild. That was wild.
It broke my brain at first because I had no idea what was going on. You know, we don't just sort of thrown into this, and they have to deliver like a lot of exposition. And I was still like, what just happened after I watched it? the first time.
Right.
Like, I had to watch it again, which I just did. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I knew in the moment, in the same way that in the first Matrix, I was like, what's happening? Why won't they tell me what's happening?
Right.
So having seen that movie a billion times now,
Yeah. Yeah.
going into this movie, I was like, okay, I just have to trust. I'm just going to enjoy this for what it is
Right.
and try to like soak in as much as possible and not try to make it make sense, because eventually, like, and they're going to throw out some terms, some things I've never heard of. What's a modal?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're going to throw out some things. They're going to say some things in the same way that even in the first movie, like when that conversation while the phone call is being traced, I didn't realize that was the phone call tracing program happening on the Matrix end until like the 15th time I watched that movie. So it was just kind of like, okay, I'm just gonna have to trust the filmmakers here, enjoy it for what it is, try to just remember keywords, and hope that later on we'll be able to piece that together. And I'm hoping the second, third, fourth viewing, because I will watch this movie that many times. Well,
What helps me with the second viewing is knowing that it's a totally different Matrix, right? Like
right, this is Matrix like 7.
like a different version. Yeah, yeah. And that
Yeah.
helped me a little bit. Like, why don't they have to use phones anymore and just go through mirrors? And you know,
Right.
speaking of plot holes, going through mirrors. Let's start with plot hole number 1, probably plot hole number 5, but you know, the one that came to my head. In the first one, he took the red pill, and that was all he needed to wake up in his little pod or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought the red pill was actually a tracing program. That's what I thought. I thought,
yeah, but that's also what woke him up, right?
I
Didn't have to go through the phone, or in this case, the mirror, to wake up in the pod, and that's what that was the first thing to take me out of the movie, and I was mad because he should have gone through the mirror and just gone somewhere else, like they used the mirror later, you know, or I don't know, or gone, you know, like it didn't make any sense to me. Like,
Right.
he didn't need to go in the mirror. He just needed the red pill to kick in. Everyone else needed to go through the mirror. So they put the wrong person in the mirror.
Yeah, I'll have to watch that scene again.
Well, he went through the mirror in that scene, like the little mirror. They're like, oh, if you just
Yeah.
get closer, whatever. But in the original Matrix, he did have an issue with the mirror, like he touched it and it went weird
Right.
and stuff. But
Yeah.
it wasn't the mirror that woke him up. It was the red pill kicking in, right? So
There was, I don't know, there was also like they had that crazy machine, and then the phone was tapped into the machine. So I don't know how all that worked. I just kind of trusted it as they've got some machines on the inside helping out. I mean, like, you know, if we're talking about people living in, you know, dream worlds.
well, I mean, they just don't go
Being
off of their own rules, right? So that was plot hole number 1. Plot hole number 2.
Yeah, what else you got? What else?
I got
what,
an image of plot hole number 2.
Oh, okay. What are your other?
Yeah, this one.
Okay.
This is a big plot hole. He shot
Okay.
him in the head. Literally.
Who is this? Who's shooting? I don't remember the scene.
Okay, you do remember the scene. So when Morpheus shows up the first time, after he's been modeled into a real thing,
Right.
he comes back into the Matrix to pull Neo out in the bathroom of the place he works at. And
Right.
everybody starts shooting. He starts shooting everyone in the office. And Agent Smith, instead of be his boss, all of a sudden, decides to shoot at Neo instead.
Right.
And he actually does.
Yeah.
He shoots Neo in the head, and then it cuts to Neo talking to the analyst.
Right.
Analyst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say it one more time.
He shot him in the head.
No, I was just trying to get you to say analyst one more time. Yeah. Okay. So, I guess because this is a newer version of the Matrix, and because he's like plugged in, I feel like he's plugged in a different way than everybody else, because he's got the 2 ports.
Yeah, he's got an extra plug now.
Yeah, he's got a USB and a USB-C.
Yeah.
You know, or no, he's probably got a VGA. That top one's probably a VGA. It's been a while. You know?
HDMI.
Yeah.
USB-C, lightning port.
yeah.
Oh, Firewire. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
top one's
for sure.
definitely FireWire. The net one, he's got a USB-C. He's got this new USB-C for like Matrix version 20 point
Right,
twenty
right,
point
right.
two.
Yeah.
So yeah, like because he's plugged in different, I feel like him and Trinity are a part of the source code. They are a part of like the fundamentals of the entire program working.
But that wasn't true before. It's only true now.
Are you saying in the previous movies?
Right.
See, I think in the previous movies, him being the one,
Was
like
the,
he was the remainder of the equation. So had he chosen the path of the other ones, the older ones, had he chosen that same path, then he would have been reinserted into the matrix properly, and then whatever code he had inside of him would have kept the machine alive, kept the thing going.
this is just, I mean, you can make excuses all you want. It's fine. But
That's
this
plot.
breaks the rule.
That's the plot. That's the
breaks
plot
the
of the
rule.
second and third movie. Like that's what the architect said.
But the rule, like if he dies in the Matrix, like if they have this much power over him, it seems like he would never get free. You see what I'm saying?
But they have an opportunity to like, because I think there's also something about like knowing you're in it versus not knowing you're in it, and he has a certain amount of power in this newer version.
So what are you saying happens when he gets shot here?
I'm saying it could.
It's
be
just the
any
Matrix,
number of
like
things.
just giving different code, like we'll just turn it off, pause it.
Right. I think like for him, they have an opportunity to like, yeah, they've got this like bullet time function. They could be doing any number of things. They could be, hitting a quick Control Alt Delete, and rebooting him up. Because like, okay, so in the first movie, he's plugged into the Matrix proper. He has that first interaction with Smith. Smith puts the tracker in him, and he goes from, oh my God, there's this thing in me, to waking up. And we don't see how he gets from one place to the next. You know what I mean? So I imagine there's some sort of deja vu that happens where they just like deja vu him
Just
back.
mind wipe him.
Right, exactly. So I feel like it's in that same realm as opposed to him like,
I mean, but the rules
Actually
are different
getting
for
shot.
him, right? Like you die in the Matrix, you die in real life.
no, they are different for
Well,
him.
they are
'Cause he-
different, I guess, because he survived it a few times. Yeah.
Yeah, he died in the first Matrix, and it wasn't.
So they
it-
just
he
like
came back.
basically shoot him and then reboot him. Basically, like that's the
think
best
so.
thing.
Yeah.
I know it was sort of a mystery for us. Like I thought it was just like a dream or something. Like, and maybe
Mm-hmm.
that's what it is, but it's not because they say earlier we tried to rescue you and it all went sideways. So what happens?
Mm-hmm.
They just stop showing the fight. Like a lot of stuff happened in the meantime, and we just gloss right over, and which is fair because there's so much going on in this film. But it's just like what? I don't know.
Yeah,
It's just these few little bumps at the beginning just threw the whole rest of the movie off for me, and I'm realizing
Yeah.
the back half of the movie is actually better. So or the middle of the movie. I don't know. I don't even know. I'm not really
Yeah.
sure. Not really sure. So for you, just up to this point, the beginning,
yeah.
the weirdness, all the weirdness.
Oh, I'm all in. I'm all in. Because I feel like you know this about me. If something's gonna get weird, I'm for it. Let's defy some expectations. Let's keep people in the dark for a while and really just kind of like live in it. And then our minds, I feel like when we watch a movie, are always trying to predict where this is gonna go.
Right.
So filmmakers actively throwing us off the scent is fun for me.
Right.
And like,
But I
so,
guess
like,
I was just so far thrown off. Maybe I'm just dumb or something. I don't know. I was just so far thrown off of where this thing was going. And plus, I have my, everyone's had their own expectations of what could a new Matrix film be,
right. Oh, absolutely.
you know.
Absolutely. I thought the idea of like framing the idea of like him being a part of the Matrix and helping like write the Matrix as a part of this video game situation. What an interesting way to get get us back here into this world. You know what I mean?
Right. Since he did die, and so did Trinity. Like, I mean,
Right.
they had to come up with something crazy. So, I mean, I get it. I guess I wished I wanted so much in my heart for like Zion and everything to be in the Matrix, so that he technically wasn't dead ever. Like he was just still plugged into another block somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like that's what I wanted so bad.
Yeah.
And that it's like, I don't know. Like, where do you go with that? And the idea that there was actually peace, like that's pretty cool. You know?
Right. Yeah. And then like there was this like machine civil war that kind of like to decide whether they will or won't.
Who was it that said that would have been a good movie?
Oh, right. That was the pitch meeting guy.
Screen Rat?
Yeah. No, I liked that very quickly. They were like, this is 60 years after, so that we have like a firmer grasp on the timeline, you know. And oh yeah, I really liked you know, just as far as like, you know, defying expectations and stuff like that, the way the trailers kind of set things up, because in the original trilogy there's this idea that the one keeps regenerating every couple of cycles, or that's what marks the end of one cycle and the beginning of a new. So it's not 100% reincarnation, because it's not like they can be like, oh, you look exactly like the last guy. But there's some sort of like, we'll call it reincarnation light. So in anticipating this movie, seeing the trailers, I thought that Morpheus would be kind of in that same realm. So seeing Morpheus played by a new actor and being like, it's Morpheus, but it's also not Morpheus, and he knows he's not the real Morpheus, and there's a little bit of Smith in him, gave him so much fun to play around with. So like when he's doing these things and like trying to get the cadence right of like Lawrence Fishburne, but then like commenting and being like, I'm not Lawrence Fishburne, I just like, all of those moments were a lot of fun for me. I really enjoyed that, because those like, how do you set this up and then play around with it? And they really kind of like, Yahya Abdul Mateen, that's his name?
Yeah, like they didn't need Morpheus.
Yeah.
So the only reason they used him was like as some sort of convoluted way of being able to replay some footage from the original Matrix. Like it just like all of it was very obviously on purpose, but I just like they could have not had Morpheus, right? They could have used some other plot device to get that information to us without, like, if they cut him out.
The plot device is getting. It's that Neo knew that he couldn't pull himself out. He needed an external factor, so he created this Morpheus from the modal to do that for him, because he knew he could do it.
Right, but what if he could do it? You know what I mean?
You know, when you're we'll call it brainwashed to that point, and they can't like you know,
there's no such thing as brainwashing. Nobody can brainwash anyone.
First scam.
Oh, that's possible. This mass psychosis. I don't know where that would apply to anything that's happening.
Right. Nothing. You're swatting at mosquitoes with an electric racket.
Talking about the most
important about conspiracies.
Philosophy / conspiracy of our lifetime. While swatting. Yeah. What are you gonna do?
So yeah, I liked Morpheus. And what's fun is Neo had no idea that Bugs was gonna show up.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
This bothered me more the second viewing.
Okay. That she just happens to find this modal?
No, that her name is Bugs. They even use Bugs Bunny as a reference. Like Bugs Bunny.
Mm-hmm.
And then she says, "What's up, Doc?" later.
Well, I mean, the first movie had so many like Alice in Wonderland things.
It's like it's the Warner Brothers. Just I don't know. I feel like they're poking their own head in there a little too much. Like, can you mention more Warner Brothers things? Like that was like a note. Yeah, we'll just have a character named Bugs, of course.
Yeah, I doubt that was something that Warner Brothers put in. That seems like a bit much. I
She
did
literally said, "What's up, Doc?"
right, but it falls in line with the Follow the White Rabbit from the Alice in Wonderland stuff from the first movie. So like having this like it's like what's another iconic white rabbit? There's only so many.
I see. I see. I see. Okay. I didn't even make that connection. So thank you.
Plus-
Obvious connection. I just was
plus-
like Warner Brothers, Bugs Bunny. What's up, Doc? Yeah. I'm a
Jessica
little slow.
Henwick.
I'm slow.
But here's the deal. Jessica Henwick is awesome. So
What is she
you
from?
know,
What is she in?
she was the best part of Iron Fist.
Oh, was she in Iron Fist? Okay.
Yeah, she.
I could not understand what she was saying
Oh, really?
a lot of the time.
The British accent was too much for you.
It's British. It felt like Australian or some kind of weird. Maybe it was British. So like when I watched the movie in the theater and it was super loud, I could not understand most of her dialogue.
I tell you, man, I didn't do it with this movie, but I did it with Tenet because of the varying volume levels. Man, closed caption.
Yeah, no, I did it the second time. That's how I caught the what's up. Doc. Yeah. I didn't think
I did not catch the what's up, Doc.
Yeah, yeah. I was
Yeah.
like, seriously? Oh, and there's so many new characters. We don't really know anything about any of them, except for Sequoia is Seek.
Right. I mean, but how much did we know about
No, you're right. You're right. But I
what's-
just felt like we connected with them a little more. There was a little
APOC
more.
and Switch? Aside from the fact that we got to watch them die
Right.
very crazily. It wasn't that crazy, but it was sad. It was just sad. And
Yeah, see, it was sad.
Looked them in the eye while they got unplugged.
There was literally no stakes, like no loss.
Well, they comment. They're like, "Oh yeah, everybody who's ever been on a ship with Neo dies." So,
Right.
like every crew member on a Neo ship has died. So we know what
There's
we're here
that.
for. And then they all lived,
Yeah.
defying
I see.
expectations.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Golf clap.
yeah. Link lived. Link. He was in the second and third Matrix movies. He was.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, Harold Perrineau.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he lived.
Yeah, it was just disorienting. I don't know. Maybe it's like one of those movies you watch a million times and it just gets better, but I don't know. Like it became, like you said, more meta and
Yeah.
more and like more, but not meta in the sense that it's bigger. Meta in the sense that you're more in the same box. Like you're just in another box. You know what I mean? Instead of outside of the box.
So, would you say it felt like a retread in the way that like The Force Awakens did?
It was not the same as I can't say that it was the same as The Force Awakens because if it was, they did it better. Like if they're gonna just take the future characters and run with them later and make Matrix 5, 6, 7, whatever, like they did it better because they're only in here a little bit, and so now we're actually curious about them. Or I mean, there's more reason to be curious about them, or to, at least they can tell any story from here. Like if the audience latches on to Bugs or whoever or whatever, then they can go, okay, well, the audience polled that they like this character, and then they can do this story about that or whatever. Like Boba Fett or whatever. He was the favorite character. He was on the screen for like 2 minutes, and now he's got a whole series.
Ready.
I think it came out today or yesterday.
I watched the first episode last night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do that probably. I don't know. Probably tomorrow with the white. I don't know. Hopefully.
Yeah. That sounds great. I won't say anything about it.
Is it worth watching?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Of course. Yeah. Of course. When have you known me to not watch a thing and like?
Yeah.
Oh, there's Star Wars content that you shouldn't watch.
Okay. Yeah. Well, but the anime.
Although I didn't finish Visions.
Yeah,
I didn't finish it. I didn't finish Visions. Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
It was too weird and not Star Warsy enough. Yeah.
It felt a little like Apocrypha. It was that first Clone Wars where it was like where they were like the 10 pieces. But the Asajj Ventress one was very cool. Oh, you gonna get that mosquito? Get him. Come here, mosquito. Here, just put out a bowl of water and wait. Play the long game.
Just
Do you want me? Here's what I'll do. I will ship you guys an opossum. Can I do that? Can I get an opossum down to Thailand?
Oh my God! Why would you do that?
Because they eat mosquitoes.
Oh, do they?
You,
Oh, so there's a plus
this,
side to opossums?
oh my gosh, they're great. Yeah, and then you just leave out.
Yeah, they kill chickens. You know they kill Malona Heather's chickens. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh no.
Anyway, but beside the point.
Yeah.
What is the point?
Let's talk about New Smith, Jonathan Groth, the actor who played him. What do you think about him? What do you think about the idea that Smith exists in this new Matrix? Because I felt like that was not necessary at all.
I don't know why they couldn't get the original guy.
Right. What was Hugo Weaving doing that was too important?
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like Hugo Weaving looks a lot older. How do you explain? Because he's like full blown just a program. So why would he?
It's 40 years, 20 years.
Yeah, 20 years.
I don't know, but I mean, he was digital in he was pretty much entirely digital in the second and third movie. So like, they had the technology.
That's true. They could do the whole facey thing.
Yeah.
Just go full de-aging. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever they call it.
They could do a whole
whatever the
Grand
kids
Moff Tarkin on him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just now remembering that I had a dream where I met a deep-faked Tom Cruise. Like, I met Tom Cruise, but I knew it was a deep fake. Why am I having this dream? I'm just now remembering it. I was talking to Tom Cruise and I was like, I know you're not real. I know you're a deep fake, even though you're standing right in front of me. And
that is awesome.
He was cool about it. He was real cool about it.
Yeah, it's okay, man. It's cool.
Yeah. He was like,
Tucker.
I'm me, but no big deal,
Yeah. Terrible. Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So you were in the Matrix then?
I guess so.
What about all the people, the swarm?
Oh yeah, the swarm mode. I thought that was a fun way of getting around, or of like, if you're sitting around, you're in the meeting, it's you and the guy who wrote Cloud Atlas and Lana Wachowski. It's three of you sitting around. You're like, all right, a newer version of the Matrix. You're upgrading the Matrix. If you created this program, how would you upgrade? And I thought that was a useful tool. A useful, like, if you were programming the Matrix and you were like, all right, the whole agent program isn't completely working. We're taking over 3 people at a time and just bouncing between them. We could just activate everybody. That's a nice upgrade feature, So it kind of it felt like zombies a little.
It felt a lot like zombies. Yes. And what about the fact that Neo can't fly?
Yeah, because it's a new version of the Matrix.
But he has the Force push.
He's got the Force push. Yeah. So I think there's some things he can do, some things he can't. I don't know.
He has more power. He has more force.
Or maybe he hasn't
pushing.
Or he hasn't like unlocked it yet. He hasn't unlocked it yet because that's right. At the end, once Trinity starts flying, then he's like, "Oh, hey, I remember how to fly now."
Oh yeah,
we both do this. Yeah,
I can fly. I can.
You gotta free your mind.
That's right. It just seemed like convenient timing, so that you could have a motorcycle scene through a zombie apocalypse with people jumping out of windows.
That's true.
It was convenient timing. But,
well, it'd be a lot shorter movie.
Right. It's like, how do we get zombies in motorcycles and get them on the roof so that they can have another scene with slow motion helicopters shooting at them and then jump.
I mean, if you're like, hey, it's been 20 years, we're making another Matrix. What's our bucket list items? What are we trying to get in here? We gotta get another helicopter scene. We didn't do a helicopter scene for the whole second or third movie. You're right. Helicopter. Carl, write it on the board. Okay, what else do we want? Trinity digs motorcycles. We got some really good motorcycle stuff in the previous films. Cool, Carl. Motorcycles, let's go. Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
My real question is, are they gonna make more? Does this lead to a new trilogy?
I think
I have
that was
no idea.
It was the plan. I think it really was the plan.
You think that 22 million box office
Yeah,
is going to derail that plan?
I think it might. This might be the final Matrix film.
I'd be okay with that. I was okay with not having this new one. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love it. I will watch it a million times. But I also want directors to have artistic license over their material and not have, someone like Warner Brothers say, hey, if you don't make a new one because we control the IP, we're going to give it to, was it? They were going to give it to Zach Penn, right?
Oh, Sean Penn or Zach Penn? Who?
Zach Penn. He wrote a bunch. He's written like a million superhero movies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Superman Returns.
2 guys.
Oh.
All right. Let's see here. All right. X2 was he got a co-story writer, Elektra co-screenwriter, X-Men: The Last Stand, The Incredible Hulk story, The Avengers co-writer story. Yeah.
He's been in the room a bit.
Yeah, he's done some stuff. So I think they were going to give it to him.
Mm-hmm.
And then Lana Wachowski was like, nah, I'll come back.
But who wrote this one? Lana?
It was Lana and David Mitchell who wrote the Cloud Atlas book.
Wow. The book.
Yeah, because I think he helped with the screenplay.
I see.
When the Wachowskis made the
originally.
movie.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, because it was a book first. So yeah, and then Alexander Hemon is the third writer, best known for the novels Nowhere Man and The Lazarus Project. Oh, you know what? He worked on Sense8. That's what it was. So it was a combo. Yeah. People who have worked together before.
Right. Well, that's the best, usually.
Yep.
I don't know. I was just hoping it would either take us somewhere new more, I guess. I don't know. I mean, technically it's new, but it didn't feel so different. Or just reimagine what we already knew and throw us in for a whole other loop of things,
Yep.
Or push the philosophy side a little more.
See, I felt like the philosophy side was pushed pretty hard. I mean, you've got the whole, like, the conversation of the previous version of the Matrix was based off of the idea of human suffering, and then this newer version is based off of longing for something that you can almost have but not really, and always trying to like.
And fear and like neurostimulus or whatever and swiping and those kinds of things.
Oh yeah.
That actually was intriguing.
Yeah, there's a lot of like commentary.
Book. Yeah, like they really what did he say? Do you remember the when they brought back the French guy?
Oh, the Merovingian.
The Merovingian. And he was crazy. And he was saying all kind of stuff. And he looks like a ratty homeless person.
Yeah.
Which is fine. No offense to homeless people.
Right.
But for a guy that used to be everything, he used to have all the money and power and all that stuff. And he's blaming Neo. I didn't take this away from the first time I just thought he was just like ranting nonsense because I couldn't really make out what he was saying.
Right, yeah. There was a lot of like just
plus there was like
salad coming out.
Yeah. Plus there was like all this fighting at the same time, right?
Right.
But after watching it with subtitles, he actually takes shots at Zuckerberg. Mm-hmm. He takes shots at the swiping and using the phones. Mm-hmm. And he's saying it's all Neo's fault because they had to reboot the Matrix and put that in to make people more controllable, docile, I guess, or not wanting freedom. And he said the world was better before because we weren't staring at our phones all the time. We were enjoying life and, the finer things.
Definitely a finer thing, this guy.
Yeah. And now we're just all staring at our phones. And there's no purpose for the Merovingian because I've got a phone.
You don't need to go out to dinner and have a nice orgasm cake slice.
That's right. Yeah.
You don't need it.
Yep. You got a TikTok
or
and you can
have,
just swipe
crazy dungeon rave. Can't hear anybody talk. What's up, guys? So here's the deal. I thought this movie was phenomenal. Really. Keanu? Come on, man. Keanu. Come on. Dude's a legend. Point Break. Speed. Bill and Ted. He bounces back and forth between comedy and drama. I mean, look, they're not all winners. They're not all winners. Am I gonna rewatch A Walk in the Clouds? No, but that wasn't made for me, and that's okay. Carrie-Anne Moss, timeless, just timeless. Yeah. It's funny because I've seen her in other things. You know, like the Jessica Jones show, the other like Marvel Netflix shows she pops in and out of, and she seems really cruel in those movies. Just like really, just like. I mean, don't get me wrong, she does some good things, but she's like a real moral, ambiguous type person. And so I was worried that in this movie I might, you know, project some of that stuff onto Trinity. And man, you know, movie starts up and I'm like, nope, that's Trinity. That's just her. To, you know, to be able to lock it in. That was pretty rad. That's great. It was a good movie. I liked it. And Jacob's back. Did you catch any of that?
Yeah.
Carrie-Anne Moss, man. I thought she did great. You know?
I just didn't believe. I never believed their connection. Like Neo and.
Really?
Yeah, it's never.
In the originals?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just
What?
like. Yeah.
You didn't
It just didn't feel like
their
really
love
synced.
story.
Yeah, it didn't really feel synced. But like, I just went with it. Okay.
Gosh. Who are you?
I don't know. I'm the worst.
Classic love story. Come on.
I know. It gets a pass. I mean, it's pretty close. But like, I feel like Keanu Reeves could have better chemistry with somebody else. I don't know. That's terrible.
All right.
That's a terrible
We
thing to say. That's a terrible thing to say.
Let's just hold on. Okay.
It's blasphemy
so,
at this point.
Keanu. All right. Let's talk about Point Break. His love interest was Lori Petty. I thought they had enough chemistry. Obviously, him and Sandra Bullock have chemistry, but I don't see Sandra Bullock playing Trinity. That's
No.
not in her wheelhouse. And so let's see what other
Look, I
Keanu
love
movies
Carrie-Anne Moss. I'm not saying I don't. I like it. Just it wasn't ever 100% for me. It was just like just almost there. Almost there. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
I don't know. I'm just jaded. I'm just super jaded.
I don't know, man. Yeah, him and Winona Ryder in Dracula didn't have that much chemistry. Seemed like his character was just trying to save her to keep up appearances.
Was he Dracula?
No, Gary Oldman was Dracula. Yeah.
I feel like I have more to say about this film. So how did you feel about the gender ambiguousness of Morpheus?
Gender ambiguousness?
I don't know. He had a lot of flair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's what I liked, that he was like playing around so much. You know what I mean?
I see.
Because Morpheus has a flair for the dramatic.
Right.
Like original Morpheus Prime is a dramatic, like, and then I'm gonna deliver this line and the lightning strikes at the exact same time.
Nah, and I won't flinch. Yeah.
Oh no, of course not. So having this new Morpheus playing around in this like Morpheus body, I thought it was a lot of fun. You know, I certainly didn't feel like there was any gender fluidity, but at the same time, he is a program, so. You know,
I thought he was a little sparkly and at the same time incredibly badass, and it kind of broke my brain a little bit. This is showing a complex character. Like this is how you do it. You know, this is how you show more than one dimension to someone.
Yeah.
Just let them show it, and you don't have to talk about it. You don't have to mention it, and even us talking about it is probably too much. But I feel like they did a good job of showing that. Like it's like, okay, I kind of bought it. This is really cool. He does this sometimes, and sometimes he does this. And you're right, he was playing a lot, and I guess it didn't really register that's what it was. But yeah, playing in the Matrix. Yeah, because there's some controversy over that. Yeah. Of him not being essentially the same Morpheus. Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't read much on it. I haven't like read many reviews or anything.
Right.
I'm sorry. I have to interject real quick.
Sure.
My wife got me this coffee mug for Christmas, and it goes it goes on a little charging plate that's plugged into a USB-C, and it keeps the coffee warm. That's
I
it.
wanted one of those, yeah, like 2 Christmases ago, and it was like, yeah, I didn't get it.
Yeah, it's not cheap. Not cheap.
Yeah, they're like $80 or something.
Yeah. It's gone down. It's gone down since
Okay.
then. So that's good.
Okay.
But still, for a coffee mug,
It's still
But-
hot.
it is like I had to take it off the charger for a while.
You had
It
to
just
turn
like
it
let
off.
it sit on the table for a second because it was like getting a little too hot.
Oh, so you have to plug the cup in all the time, or it has a battery in the cup?
No. So there's like a little plate, which I don't want to pick up because it's warm. Actually, no, I can do this. Yeah. So
Right.
there's this little plate guy.
Oh, okay. Okay, so the
then-
one that I'm talking about is like the actual cup.
So I just put the
That's a
and there's
battery
like
in it.
metal in here in the mug
Ah,
that will react to the charging plate and will
very
keep
cool.
keep
Yeah.
the coffee warm.
That sounds amazing. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty rad.
Of course, now I'm drinking a lot more iced coffee.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. You're in that warm climate.
Something about a tropical climate.
I tell you what, though, man. Like, even during the middle of summertime with all of the Louisville humidity, I still drink hot coffee.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I still drink a hot coffee. We drink a hot coffee every morning. Yeah, at least one. But if I'm out, it's definitely iced coffee.
Gotcha.
Used to, I would still drink hot coffee. I don't know, because it's you get so used to drinking hot coffee.
Yeah, I mean, there's even something about the warmth that helps wake
Yeah.
me up. You know,
Yeah. It's a whole experience.
is the Matrix Resurrection.
What do you think about them literally resurrecting them? You see that scene where they like have like
Oh, where they're like building them back or whatever. Yeah.
so wow.
Well, I feel like we needed something of that sort. We needed to see some sort of like them rebuilding their physical bodies. Yeah, I think we needed some of that. If you can do that, if the machines can do that, is it more work to breed more humans and plug them in and have the whole life cycle, like the normal human life cycle? I guess the real question is, does it cost more energy to just do that and keep recycling your humans for energy? Or do you just keep rebuilding your old humans
I'm gonna go
to keep
with,
them alive?
yeah. It can't be efficient at all. And 2, the batteries are not efficient. And 3, the original plot of the Matrix was that they were not batteries. They were actually like what builds the web of the Matrix itself.
No,
In-
no.
In the same way. No. Before the Matrix was a movie, the original story of the Matrix was that they were in the same way that Neo is a part of the Matrix. Everyone is a part of the entire grid.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, I understand that like all of these people are plugged in, but I thought the idea was plugging them into the Matrix is what keeps them from trying to get up and move around, which keeps them in their little energy pods, which then is what powers the whole machine city and lifestyle, because they don't have enough power because they had to switch to an alternate power source because the sun is blocked out and they can't use solar anymore, which they should totally get in on wind. There's storms all the time.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, actually,
I mean, it's-
wind is super efficient. Yeah,
Wind,
Way more
wind,
efficient.
they really should
Yeah,
like
they should have thought about
architect should have been like, all right, there's some forms of survival that we're willing to like, hey man, time to invest in some wind, because you got lightning storms all the time. Harness the lightning, harness lightning farms. Matrix 5 wind farm, Matrix 6 lightning rods, Matrix 7 sustainable energy for everybody.
Let the
We don't
humans
have to
go.
be at war.
Yeah,
Let the
yeah,
humans go.
Yeah,
At the same time, though, they're gonna be like, well, if we let all these humans go, but the humans are gonna have to live
don't want to plug
subterraneously.
back in at this point. I think.
I think some of them.
They've got us so conditioned. Yeah.
Maybe here's what they do. They do Matrix 8 Rumspringa, where You live in the Matrix until you're 15. When you turn 15, you get to go out into the real world for a year and then decide whether or not you want to live in the real world or you want to live in the Matrix.
Right. So it's like a here, when you turn 15, you go, or 12 or whatever, you go spend.
What the Amish do.
You spend like a
What the
month
Amish
in the
do.
Buddhist monastery. I think it's a month. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Of the
Oh,
time
really?
frame. But yeah.
Oh, that's
every
fantastic.
every guy's supposed to go spend a little bit of time. Yeah.
I love that.
Decide whether you want to come back or not. Yeah.
So yeah, it's like the Amish, you get to go live amongst the heathens for like, a summer, decide whether or not you want to keep with that Amish life.
Right. Right. Yeah. I
think we just mapped out the next four Matrix movies.
Yeah.
Lana, give us a call. Got you.
Yeah.
Let's
Big
go.
fan of the Sense8. How are you on the Sense8?
You know what? I never watched it, and I need to. Like, as the movie was starting, I turned to Kayla and I was like, do we need to watch Sense8? I feel like we need to watch Sense8.
Yeah.
We'll probably
it's a
watch
little
Sense8.
sexual, but other than that,
I would expect nothing less from the Wachowskis.
yeah. But other than that, the way that they do what they do is pretty ingenious. I can't even really describe how they're connected. It's perfectly executed on film, like to be able to see the connection between these people.
That's great.
Yeah. So, and it couldn't have been done another way. Like, you can't tell that story without being able to show it, and they do it. They pull it off. So their visuals have always been stunning, and I think that's another thing too. Like, I wanted the visuals to be ramped up a little more, and like the ramped up visuals were just Hadokens and force pushes and a little more slow motion. Like super slow motion.
It was no
like
completely like genre defining. There was no bullet time. Like what bullet time was to the original Matrix, there was no version of that in this movie. It was just cleaned up versions of
what they had
previously done. Like if they had tried to do this movie with, in 2004 after, Matrix Revolution, then them walking in the sky would have looked more cartoony.
Right. Yeah. I don't know, man. My opinion has changed. I was very upset. I guess I was so jarred originally because I really wanted them to zoom out more in a different way than they did. Somehow they zoomed out but zoomed in at the same time.
Yeah. I heard somewhere early on in the process, at some point, like I saw either like a tweet headline or something like that, but it was basically like, at the end of the day, Matrix Resurrections is a love story. So I went in knowing that it was going to be hyper-focused on Neo and Trinity, which I kind of figured anyway, because if you bring those two back, but not Lawrence Fishburne, Hugo Weaving, if you don't bring everybody back, but you only bring those two, then you kind of have to be hyper-focused on them. My expectations were tempered down to, like, this is going to be a little bit more of, like, an individual story and less, like, grand. I mean, it still has grand-ness. It's like Quantum of Solace, the second Daniel Craig Bond movie. Somebody was like, it's a revenge film. It's not nearly what Casino Royale was, because Casino Royale was a perfect Bond movie.
Right.
Quantum of Solace is a Bond movie that's also a revenge film.
Yeah.
So yeah, dude, I went post Christmas shopping yesterday for my family's Christmas, which is coming up because we do it later. And while I was out, I was like, let me pick up this new Bond on Blu-ray, because I still buy Blu-rays, and it is sold out everywhere. Everywhere we went, sold out, which means to me either people really like that movie, or don't know what to get people as a gift for Christmas, or they're just not making that many Blu-rays anymore. You know what I mean? They're just like, they're like, when I worked at Barnes & Noble in 2005, 2004, whatever, we would never run out of, like, the top movie that was coming out. Like, we weren't going to run out of Revenge of the Sith on Blu-ray. We would have enough copies. So is it just the fact that everybody's streaming now, so they don't have to make that many Blu-rays? They know they're not going to sell them, so
You can't
they
watch Bond on streaming yet, right?
you have to buy it. You have to like rent it. You can rent it on Prime for like $5.99. I already own all the other Bond movies on Blu-ray, so it's not like I'm just gonna not buy the new one. All right, it's midnight where you are. You need to go to bed.
No,
we
no,
gotta wrap this up. I need to eat breakfast.
Okay, let's just. I have to take a minute. I don't know why my brain doesn't work as well as it used to. I guess it's old age, but
Man, we're getting old.
yeah, aging on the camera.
It
But
is.
I don't know, man. I don't even know if I want more of these movies.
More Matrix movies, or more
Yeah,
just
like
like
I did originally. I wanted more Matrix movies, and then
Mhm.
now I just feel. But at the end, though, they kind of cleaned it up for me a little bit, and they put back that little, hey, no, let's remake that Matrix how we want with rainbows and fun stuff and whatever.
Oh,
like,
right. That was
or
right.
whatever it is, Like you have the power to make your own Matrix kind of thing, I guess. Like it's still a weird message, and the message that we all would prefer to not be free, but to just scroll more. Weird message to put in a movie. So it's just everything sort of just rubbed me in the wrong way in weird ways. Like, yeah, I mean that's true, and I'm glad you're pointing it out for everyone. But like I don't know, maybe it's just something that I've maybe it's something not everyone knows. I don't know. Like this new generation, maybe this is the Matrix for them.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I certainly don't feel like it's not the thing that I have with Star Wars where a new Star Wars movie I automatically think, okay, the audience for this movie is 9 to 12, something like that.
You think?
Star Wars is for kids.
Yeah.
Star Wars is for kids, and we just happen to latch onto it and
And never let go.
yeah, because I mean, like, look, I could pull up my favorite movie in all of Star Wars and maybe in anything, Empire Strikes Back. Pull up that movie, and every couple of minutes, I'm gonna go like, yeah, because there's gonna be like plot holes. There's stuff where it's like that's just a little too cheesy, or whatever. Like there's stuff in all of these things, and a movie that I actively celebrate in Empire Strikes Back has those things.
Right. So maybe I'm just being too critical.
Look, hey, you be however you want to be.
No, I'm just
Right?
Yeah, I should apply my less criticalness. to
Look,
things.
there's some willful suspension of disbelief.
Yeah,
There's just some things where you go, okay,
sure. I do have to say that the film did look better.
oh, yeah,
Yeah,
oh, it looked fantastic.
Yeah.
Looked fantastic.
not bad. And
Yeah.
the first also things that took me out of the movie were the clips of the old film.
I thought that was a real interesting choice. That at first I was like, okay, do that, and then but it happened so much early on in the film that I was
A
like,
lot.
we're really using this. But I like it when things don't ignore their past.
It was a lot. The first time it took me out so many times because I still couldn't swallow the fact that it was a game and that's how they're gonna. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it just all bothered me. So like every time they referenced that, then that took me out of the film. But this time I just sort of
Right.
went with it. It's like okay, fine, it's a game, and then
Right.
it didn't jar me so much this time. Although it's still incredibly noticeable. And
Yeah. I don't know. I maybe because I was at a certain point like you understand what the game is, so it's like, okay, so this is their function of control over him,
Exactly,
to make.
yeah.
So if you just kind of like, okay, like how would you use his knowledge of previous events? How would you reconcile that in his mind to keep him plugged into the machine and helping with you? 20.3.
And if there was, I kind of wish we had a little more detail about the peace and the war that was going on between them, and like a little bit of that, like could
Yeah.
leave you somewhere to go next. If they're still fighting between each other, or If because he unplugged, now that cancels the contract with being peace. Because when he took the red pill, is exactly the moment that Agent Smith woke up and started attacking him.
Right.
So that opens a whole can of worms potentially.
Yeah.
So because they're so connected.
Right.
So that's a whole can of worms, right? Like if when he takes the red pill, Smith wakes up and remembers that, oh, he's Agent Smith, that could corrupt the Matrix, and he could corrupt the Matrix again.
Right. Yeah, you could have the that whole problem happen again.
Exactly. Yeah. So you literally can launch an entire new trilogy off of the back of this. Like,
right.
That could be the problem. Is like they get out, and then now Smith has done the thing again. Again. Yeah. It's just another loop. There's a lot of references to loops, and here they are doing a loop.
Yep.
They had to come up with such a crazy device in order to get them to come back to life, explain why they're there, all that kind of stuff. And I get that, but I just kind of wish it was something else,
Gotcha.
But you're okay.
All right. Oh, of course. All right. So give it a letter grade. Elementary school letter grade. Where you at? C minus? C plus?
Maybe like a
B minus?
B minus, yeah.
Yeah.
Solid
I'll give it a solid A. I would give it an A.
And
maybe even an A plus.
A for effort.
Because like, how do you even like come back to a thing 20 years later and have it not be utter garbage? You know what I mean? Like this could have I don't see this in the same realm as like Indiana Jones 4, which was woof.
Right.
So the fact that it is enjoyable, coherent, and all the all the above, like, give that an A. Because that's hard to do. It's hard to do sequels, let alone hard to do a sequel to a trilogy 20 years after the fact. Like, how many people have done that? Star Wars has done it. Indiana Jones did it. I mean, you could kind of say The Hobbit versus the Lord of the Rings trilogy, but that was only like a 10-year gap, and that was not as good. Even close.
The Matrix. It's a 63% Rotten Tomato score. That's audience score.
They're all wrong.
That's audience score. So who's to say
but
it isn't complete garbage?
But there are people who didn't like the second and third ones either. You know what I mean? There are people who were like, watched the first one, thought it, blew their minds, and then the second and third one was like, too many words, can't. So they're operating from a place where popular opinion wasn't immediately on board with Reloaded and Revolutions.
The original Matrix was a audience score of 85.
Okay.
And what was the second one called? Reloaded.
Reloaded.
Score of 72.
Okay.
And the other one was
Revolutions.
60. So this got only a slightly higher. Fun fact, 35% from the critics. Revolutions.
Okay.
60% audience score. So this is only slightly better, and it's still early.
Yeah.
So typically these scores go down over time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So 63% audience score. But even if it was the same, it's slightly better than the final Matrix film. Yeah. It's weird that Morpheus is like a robot AI thing.
Yeah.
And there's robots now that they talk to.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot going on. It's a lot to swallow. It's a big pill, if you will.
All the other ones were the same.
They introduced more stuff, but I don't know that it was all necessary. Like that's my only gripe. I just feel like it's just convoluted, but for convolution's sake, not for plot or meaning or story or premise.
And I thought it all worked pretty well.
It's weird that we saw the same movie and we just I don't know. Maybe
we do this all the time. I do this all the time.
It's just weird that my brain can't get there. Like I'm so close. I feel like I'm close to really enjoying
it.
Like I enjoyed it more the second time. I just don't know that I'll ever get to the height of where I was with the first trilogy. You know, like
Yeah, I mean,
because the first trilogy, I hated 2 and 3 originally. I went back and watched them, and then I loved it. I was like, this is insane. This is so brilliant.
well, you watched the previous movies. The first time you didn't like it, and over time you grew to like them.
Yeah.
And I genuinely think that will continue to happen with this film. However, the other question is like, how much do you rewatch movies? You know, like
But
just in
The
general.
Matrix was one of those films that you go back and rewatch. You know,
Yeah.
it had
No,
that
I will-
rewatchability factor.
Yeah, I agree. And so I think I will add this into the rotation. 100%. Okay.
Okay.
You need to go to bed. I need to start my day. Because you live in the future and I live in the past. And thank you everybody for listening. Smash that like button. Subscribe. Do some things to help us. Please. Or don't. Whatever. We're going to keep doing it anyway. We've decided. No matter what, if there's 2 people listening to this show and it's you and
Us.
I, we're going to keep making more of them. You know why? Because is this entertainment? I don't know.
It's cheaper than therapy. That's why.
It's cheaper than therapy, and, you know, it keeps our friendship going across, you know, a 12-hour time difference. And on that note, bye.